Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be doing a speed build video, which I haven't done for quite some time. But if you've been watching my Sims in Bloom Legacy Challenge, then you'll know that we are starting a new generation. So we've got to build a house for that new generation. So let's get cracking. You may or may not be able to tell that I am really poorly at the minute. So I've got like a coldy flu type thing that my boyfriend passed on to me. He got it from work and now I've got it. So if I sound congested or whatever, then I do apologize. But yeah, today we are building in Del Sol Valley, which I very rarely build in. I think I've built here a couple of times, but mainly I've built in those like more expensive neighborhoods rather than this particular neighborhood. But we are building on the Inner Circle lot, and I, for my Sims in Bloom challenge, use Lil Simsy's save file. So I tried to kind of fit this build into the area, and I got inspired because on this lot, she built like two houses together, kind of a semi-detached house attached to another one, and I thought that that could be quite nice to do for our series, just to kind of have the two different houses there, and maybe our Forget-Me-Not Jen can live in one of the houses, and maybe her parent while she's growing up can live in, or her parents can live in the other house. So if you have not already watched my Sims in Bloom challenge, then I would highly recommend that you go and watch that. But basically we have got two contenders for the heir at the minute. They are still children, so I haven't decided quite yet. My fourth gen sim ended up having triplets, and I was like, how on earth am I going to choose between three? I found it quite hard to choose them when I've had twins before, choosing between the two, let alone choosing three. But I think what happens in The Sims is they kind of show themselves and they show their characters, and you can kind of work out eventually which of your Sims are more suited to being the heir for these different generations. So for Forget-Me-Not Jen, they end up being a self-absorbed actor where they're going to be very like obsessed with their job, obsessed with like the celebrity lifestyle. And I think moving them to Del Sol Valley like this early on, like as a child, is probably going to help and probably going to add to that, to be honest, because they've been living in San Myshuno for their whole childhood so far, because Rose Jen had to live in San Myshuno their whole adult life, and my Rose Jen Thorn has lived there. We have completed her generation now because she had a few more things to do, but it is completed. But we are gonna move them now to Del Sol Valley and have that focus be more so on Forget-Me-Not Jen. And I think also for Forget-Me-Not Jen as well, the idea of like the whole family having to uproot their life in the city and move to this whole new neighborhood so they can be near like acting gigs and stuff, and near the lifestyle of actors and actresses, is kind of like fitting for that gen as well, because it shows that they're self-absorbed. It shows that like, it's me kind of thing. So I think that's a really cool idea as well. And also for me, living in the apartments is just getting to be a little bit too much, what with the noisy neighbors or just not being able to have a garden, I think, because I quite enjoy with my Sims having things in the garden for them to do, just being able to go out in the garden, have a barbecue, or have the kiddos play with the different things. Like, for example, I think it's Maya, she wants to, for her aspiration, she wants to build a tree house. So you will see later on in this speed build that I have added a tree house into one of the gardens, because just being able to, it just gives them more freedom, a lot more freedom to kind of do what they want. With this house, obviously we've split it into two smaller houses, and for the left side I have given it a blue and yellow theme. So Forget-Me-Not Jen, their colours are, I think it's light blue and yellow. So we did a light blue and yellow while also kind of sticking with the theme of the houses around here. Like, I wanted it to fit in with the neighbourhood. I didn't want it to look as if it was just plonked there. And all of the houses, as you can see, have like fences around them and certain themes. And I think having, you know, a different roof tile or different colour wallpapers is fine, but just making sure it doesn't look too out of place. So I think I did an okay job. Considering I don't build in Del Sol Valley all the time, I don't think I did too bad of a job. And I, as I say, decorated half of the house, well, one house with the blue and yellow. And I think that is going to be where the two kiddos that I have that are in the run-in for Forget Me Not Jen will kind of live, Maya and River. And then on the other side, I decorated it quite like normal, just however I wanted, but also added bits of red and black for Thorn, because I think what I'll do is I'll have Thorn and Emily. Thorn is my Rose Jen. She is married, and her wife will be on the right side and live in that house, maybe with Otis, the other kiddo, and then the other two will be in the other house. And I know that is quite rogue, and it's kind of like two houses, like they're living in a separate house, you're letting your child live in a separate house, but they are connected and they're on the same plot of land. And obviously the parents aren't just like upping and leaving them, they're just trying to give them, I think, that little bit of independence, and yeah, just sort of seeing how they do. And I think Thorn has been quite an easygoing mum so far. Like, she hasn't been really strict, and she isn't the type of mum that is like, you need to live under my roof until you're 80 years old or anything like that, you know. She's very easygoing, and I think this will give them that bit of independence, which I think will also add to their story as well, you know, being self-absorbed. And they do have quite an interesting story. And if you go and watch the first episode of my Forget Me Not Jen, you'll see that I do actually do a bit of a disclaimer, because this Jen is going to be quite a controversial one. Tea sip. We need the tea. They are self-absorbed, as I keep saying, so they're going to be quite like narcissistic, all about themselves, kind of put themselves first. And that is shown when, you know, they're throwing loads of house parties. They then get to quite high, like as a celebrity, and they end up divorcing the person that they are married to, which is going to be quite difficult, I think, because I've not really done that yet properly in Sims in Bloom. So that's going to be quite a tricky one. They divorce their current partner and they end up marrying a co-worker, which to me could kind of lead to maybe like a bit of a scandal, maybe a bit of a cheating storyline. They cheat on their like current marriage, like their husband or wife, whoever they're with, and they cheat on them, and then they end up marrying a co-worker, which is obviously quite scandalous. So I think this is probably going to be the most controversial generation so far, hence why I did put a disclaimer at the start of my Forget Me Not episode, which if you haven't watched, and if you haven't watched my whole Sims in Bloom series, I would highly recommend that you go and do that. I can't believe we are now on to the 5th generation. We are literally nearly halfway through, and I'm super excited. I am, whilst I enjoy playing that kind of happy-go-lucky, easy-breezy family. Mind you, to be fair, Rose Gem wasn't easy breezy. We've had our kind of ups and downs. I think early generations maybe had a bit more of a calmer lifestyle. But for example, my 3rd generation, Lavender, his wife Tara didn't want children. Obviously we had to have children anyway for that gen to continue. But when they did end up having children, she ended up getting like a sentiment that she hated her children, basically, which can be quite common, especially, you know, I've never had a child, but with PTSD, like postnatal depression or postpartum depression, you can have that sort of resentment. And I don't know enough about it to talk about it too much, but it is a common thing, and many women struggle with that. So whilst I often try not to add too much realism to my game, because I know that people like to use The Sims and The Sims videos and stuff as a form of escapism, I do feel that sometimes it is important to talk about these things and, you know, to highlight these different issues that people might face in life. And Tara did struggle, and, you know, she struggled with loving her children, and she was very like depressed, and she was struggling with her mental health, and I highlighted that in a lot of my videos because I do think it is important. And obviously with this generation we are going to highlight real life things that happen, such as divorce and maybe cheating scandals, because life isn't rainbows and sunshine, and people do cheat on their partners. It's unfortunate, but such is life. I know that sounds really dreadful, but it is going to be a controversial generation, but I think I'm excited for it because it is nice sometimes to play that kind of gen that is out there and it's not just perfect. But I hope that you enjoy the build that we have done for this generation. We are obviously going to be chopping and changing it a lot. It's not necessarily going to stay like this, and of course once we move the family out of San Myshuno and move them to Del Sol Valley, it is going to change as well, and they're going to maybe bring things with them that we're going to put in. You know, as the kids grow up, we are going to change things. And I think even, to be honest, when I move them into this house, I will probably have a bit of a mix around and a change around, because right now the bedrooms are kind of more adult focused, I would say. And, you know, they are still kids, so we're going to add like kids toys in and whatnot. But I thought if I upload this to the gallery, then at least it's kind of just pretty simple and like pretty good to just pop on the gallery. But yeah, we'll add kiddos stuff and also things that they're probably going to need for their generation. So they, I think, start dancing and some other bits and bobs. So maybe we'll add like a dance floor or other certain things that they might need to complete the gen, if that sort of makes sense. But let's kind of see this as, say, a show home, maybe. So you can just sort of see how it would come. And then when the family moves in, it's a normal thing where they then customize it to their tastes as well. But I thought I'd do the color schemes just so it's there, it's ready to go. The blue and the yellow is there. Also with the house, I haven't added the normal amount of clutter that I would probably do, or, you know, even landscaping, the normal amount of plants that I would probably do, because normally I shove plants everywhere. I put loads of terrain paint, even like under the fences I would normally put terrain paint, but I haven't done that because, as I said, this is Lil Simsy's save file, and the houses along the street don't have that. And I tried it and it didn't look right, and it didn't look like it sort of blended in and fitted in. But I hope that you enjoyed watching this speed build, and I hope you're excited for the new house and for Forget Me Not Gen as well. If there are any things that you think that I should add to this house for this generation, please do let me know down in the comment section below. If there's any changes to the house you think I should make before we start the next gen, also let me know. And let me know if you've got any tips and tricks for Forget Me Not Gen as well. And if you did enjoy this speed build, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button as well so that you can stay up to date with me and all of my videos, and don't forget to turn on those post notifications as well. Take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video. Taz out.